ever since 1951, when Nepal opened its borders to the modern world. United States of America and Kingdom of Nepal have worked towards a common goal: the development of Nepal and the improvement of the lives of our people. From the year 1952, when Chester Bowles, the American ambassador, made a 20-mile trip to Kathmandu on horseback to present his credentials to the king, till the dawn of a new era when American Secretary of State Colin Powell landed at Tribhuvan International Airport. Between these years, Nepal has seen dynamic changes in its social, economical, and political spheres, and so has Nepal-US relations. The strength of this enduring relationship over 50 years of partnership arises from the experiences of people from United States and Nepal living and working together as one.
95 years old Mallu Mahato is the oldest man alive in Sauraha, at the entrance of the Royal Chitwan National Park, one of the most famous wildlife sanctuaries in Nepal. He is a quirky old man who starts his day by giving blessings to his grandson and great-grandson, and then walks around the premises of his guest house, talking to himself. His eyes, which are almost blind now, have seen 5 generations of his family grow up. Mallu has a plethora of memories from the past. He remembers how Chitwan was a mosaic of bottomland forests, tall grasslands, lakes and swamps, and then he remembers the dreaded disease, malaria. People called it Aulo Joro or Juri Bukhar, and it spread rapidly with a force that rendered his beloved Chitwan almost uninhabitable. Except for the indigenous Tharus like Mallu, the region was almost without any human settlement due to the prevalence of the disease.
ये मलेरियाले गर्दाखेरि बस सारै यो उल्लो बस्न नै नसक्ने हामीहरू कहाँ जाने यहाँ जलम लियो यहाँ हुर्कियो अब यौल हाम्रो थाहै छैन यौल कौन किसिम के आउँछ कोही पखेला आउँछ कोही ज्वरो आउँछ कोही खटिरा आउँछ केही मान्छे त कति मर्छ
Malaria, one of the oldest diseases known to mankind, is a debilitating, infectious disease characterized by chills, shaking, and periodic bouts of intense fever. Caused by single-celled parasites, malaria is transmitted from person to person by the bite of the female Anopheles mosquito. Half a century ago, nobody knew how malaria struck. Some blamed it on the bad air and water, some blamed it on the swamps, and some even thought it was due to the weather. The Tharus treated it with herbs. When herbal remedies failed, the endless procession of relatives and shamans or dhami chakris began. They came with their treatments, which included worship, sacrifice, and ritual exorcism. None of these ways worked, and people died in large numbers. Malaria was the most serious health problem in the 1950s, afflicting 25% of Nepal's population. The country's most potentially productive agricultural land, the Tarai, lay virtually untouched due to the virulence of the disease. Over 2 million people, a quarter of the population, suffered from malaria each year. 10% of them died. In 1958, the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, in collaboration with the World Health Organization and His Majesty's Government of Nepal, mounted a major effort to combat the disease. Advisors, equipment, insecticides, training and funds were channeled from USAID through the Nepal Malaria Eradication Organization in a long-term program which eventually encompassed every malarial district in the country. In addition to spraying, surveying, and distributing medicines to malarial cases, field workers also took the time to explain the causes of malaria to the villagers, few of whom understood the reason for spraying. One such field worker was Krishna Bahadur Thapa. He was a surveillance visitor whose job was to visit houses according to pre-arranged programs and take blood smears from all present and past fever cases. Krishna Bahadur recalls how he worked continuously for 26 days in a month, braving the heat, dust, sweat, boredom, and separation from his family. He and his fellow workers walked to as many as 12 villages in a day and collected blood samples from at least 50 houses. In many remote areas like Chitwan, the malaria worker was the only government worker villagers ever met. The organization built up a cadre of 4,000 trained full-time workers by 1968, making it one of the largest civilian organizations in the country. No other USAID project of the era equaled the direct impact upon vast numbers of people that Nepal Malaria Eradication Organization achieved. Among the many early stalwarts of the malaria control era is Dr. Rana Krishna Jung. He was the chief officer of the Nepal Malaria Eradication Organization during the late 60s and early 70s, and also a WHO malariologist for 20 years. Dr. Rana gives credence to the fact that the overall achievements and benefits of the anti-malaria program were undeniably remarkable.
The main outcome of this malaria eradications was tremendously seen in the Tarai belt of Nepal as a whole, and because this malaria eradication was the first health program, public health program, with this help the other health programs were also established based on this. So much so that now each and every village are having some sort of health program in the country.
As early as 1956, settlers began to move into the Tarai. Population pressures, combined with a shortage of arable land, had made life difficult in the hill regions, forcing many farmers to emigrate in search of employment. The opening of the Tarai provided a safety valve for the increasingly crowded hills, changing the lives of thousands of hill farming families who came down to the fertile, relatively large fields of the Tarai. By 1968, malaria cases dropped from more than 2 million annually to 2,500 cases, making the anti-malaria project one of USAID's best, most appreciated, and successful efforts in Nepal. The program brought immeasurable benefits to Nepal, reducing human suffering and improving economic efficiency. It opened the Tarai to large-scale agricultural and industrial development, making the region the economic hub of the nation. Today, the Tarai is home to nearly half of Nepal's population and produces 65% of the country's food grains, earning the title the breadbasket of Nepal.
The Tarai used to be called the land of fever, and only few people lived there. People were afraid of the area. And then USAID started their malaria eradication program, and now it is home to over 50% of Nepalis, and it's become the breadbasket of Nepal.
As the sun sets over the Narayani River, Mallu Mahato looks back upon his long and fruitful life with satisfaction and content. He knows that the dramatic changes that has taken place in Chitwan, a land that 5 decades ago had been malarial jungle, to the Chitwan of today, an affluent district with a thriving economy, has been made possible because of the Malaria Control Program.